slow down and making less. Thank my lucky stars.
Hello, welcome back to TSC Talks, the podcast where we talk about tuberous sclerosis complex and other related issues. My name's Jill Woodworth, and I am your host. On today's podcast, we went a little bit TSC light with my guest, Alex Skuby, the actor who was recently a co-host for Comedy for A Cure, the TS Alliance fundraiser in LA, which we discuss in the podcast. He's hosted it for, I believe, the last 6 years, and he got into hosting it through his wife, who is an accomplished actress herself on Fear the Walking Dead and many other things. You might know Alex from, well, I knew him from King of Queens, where he played Carrie's boss, Doug. And Doug was a real, I'm not going to swear because I already have gotten this podcast episode an explicit rating. We cut out a lot of the subject material. It really wasn't that bad, but I don't want to go, I had to be honest and put it on iTunes with explicit. So it's the first one that I've rated that way. And I think you'll enjoy the conversation we had. We talk about, good habits, bad habits, just keeping on, the Hollywood business, the highs and the lows. He talks about his process as an actor and just why he loves acting and how he kind of fell into it, didn't really set out on that career path. And his new podcast that he's doing called Alex Skuby Podcast, I believe, and it is light love and a little bit of anger. So it's interesting to talk to another podcaster, and I don't want to keep re-recording this intro. I don't want to flub it. I want to give him all the credit for just being willing to, there was no ego here, and I just felt like I was talking to anybody on the street. I find comedians fascinating overall, and so I have always been a fan of, Joe Rogan and other podcaster comedians. So I thought Alex was great. I hope you guys enjoy it. He really had a lot of great things to say about the TS Alliance and how he got involved and the people that he's met and how he, just feels a sense of, real peace and fulfillment being involved with us all. So that's a credit to our community. And I'm going to really stop talking because I think you'd rather hear from Alex. So again, Alex Skuby, accomplished Hollywood actor on TSC Talks. Go listen to the Alex Skuby podcast, and I'll put all his links up, and going to stop now. Take it away. Thanks again. Take it away, Alex. Thanks for being on my podcast. And
yeah, of course.
If you want to just tell me a little bit about yourself, give me a little history. I've read a little bit about you, and I've listened to your podcast. I see that
that's new for me, by the way.
Oh, they were great. They were so funny. I was laughing.
The funny thing is I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of just talking, and then I go like, okay, I guess that's enough, and then I end it. I mean, I don't...
Well, it's funny because that's what I started doing, and I started it with my kids, and then I went and I think I talked a couple times, and then I had the idea of starting to interview people, and took off from there. So anyways, go ahead and tell me a little bit about your life.
Yeah. So I grew up in New Jersey, and I have a brother and a sister. They're younger. And, my father was a salesman. He worked for, Izod. Do you remember those alligators on those shirts? Yeah. He worked in New York for them.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. And, my mother was a stay-at-home mom. She raised us and stuff. So I grew up in Jersey. I went to high school there, and
now, what part of Jersey is that?
I went to Wall High School, which is in Wall Township, which is it's basically the shore. We consider it the beach. It's like Manasquan, Belmar,
Okay,
Asbury
my grandma
Park.
was Montclair area, so that's more near the city.
Well, it was like Fairleigh Dickinson University was up that way, wasn't it? Montclair University.
Montclair, I know is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. So after high school, I didn't even know what, I wanted to do, because I wasn't, I sang in a couple high school bands, which I thought was really fun. I've always kind of been like a ham, I guess you'd say. And,
were you in plays and stuff in high school?
I wasn't. No, I thought of those people as theater geeks. I was so, I was just kind of like, nah, it's not for me.
That's funny.
Yeah, it is. after high school, I was just so like not knowing what I wanted to do with my life. And you got to either go to college or get a job. And I was like, oh, fine. So I got a job at a place called Stearns. Remember Stearns? Like Sears and Stearns.
Yeah.
And like, it was that kind of thing. And the job was like me waking up at 4 a.m. and driving all the way to this place and unloading trucks.
Oh my God. Like soul sucking.
It was hideous. So, after about 6 months of that, I was just like filled with anxiety and I didn't know what to do. So I decided to go to Brookdale Community College in Crofton, New Jersey. And I had to be full time to keep my health insurance through, my father. And so I decided I didn't want to take marketing. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try acting 101. So I took it and I loved it. It was like therapeutic, it was just therapeutic. And
in what way? Describe that.
Just getting up on stage and kind of venting. There was like a little beginner's improv class, and just all the stuff inside my head, frustration, and happiness, and then anger and all that stuff. I felt it very therapeutic, especially doing it in front of an audience. It was nice to get it all out. It was like seeing a shrink, but for free.
And like you get it out and you're not like doing any damage.
I'm not doing any damage. That was later in life.
Well, we all hit that.
So then, from there, it was like my thespian friends that I met there, they were all auditioning for bigger colleges, theater programs. And I was like, ooh, so, they were going to Syracuse and NYU and DePaul University in Chicago. And I was like, oh, I got to get in on this. So I went and I auditioned at these kind of repertory theater boot camp schools for actors. And I got accepted to all three, which was like, holy cow, you do monologues and all stuff.
Oh, so did you have to do a monologue for that? Was that the audition process?
Yeah. There's like monologues, and if you made it, like something like 5,000 kids audition for these schools, and they only accept like 110.
Wow, that's great.
It is great.
Yeah.
And I got lucky, and I chose Chicago because I wanted to move as far away from Jersey as I possibly could.
Well, of course.
Remove myself from the scenario. So I went to Chicago, and I went to 2 years at the theater school at DePaul University. I got kicked out.
What years were you there? Because I went to school in the Chicago area too. Well, you're younger than me.
I was there from 92 to 98.
Okay,
so
yeah.
Like 6 years. But I did 2 years there, and then they decided to kick me out because I was doing really well in all the acting, but I didn't want to take physics and geometry and all that stuff, so they booted me, and I thought my life was over.
Really?
And yeah, I was like, I'll never work. This is horrible. I'll never be an actor. They kicked me out, which was so not true. And I just started doing plays. I was bartending in Charlie's Ale House in Lincoln Park in Chicago, and I was doing plays and did that for a while, and then it was time to move again, and I decided I was coming to LA. Jane Alderman was her name. She was a casting director, like probably the biggest casting director in Chicago, and I was friends with her, and she liked my work, so she set me up with a meeting with the head of casting at Warner Brothers, and I got cast on ER. I did 2 episodes, like within a week.
Oh my goodness.
So it was crazy. So it was just all fast moving and strange, weird. And
you went from like 0 to 60 in a short time.
In a short time. And then, I was testing to be a regular on series and all this stuff. And then you learn a lot about the business, and you're like, wait, this isn't theater. This is actual business. Like these people they're not as great as you thought they'd be. You know what I mean? So
it's not all one big happy fairy tale.
No.
Yeah. No.
So and then from there, it's just been up and down.
Yeah.
It's just been good years and bad years and just all that stuff.
So you're in the LA area, or Hollywood?
I am. Yeah, I'm not in Hollywood. I don't like going into Hollywood. It's very tourist there.
Yeah, sure.
It is. So, and I'll go in there once in a while for my friends doing a show or stand-up comedy or something. I'll go in, but for the most part, I'm outside of LA.
So what has been the most challenging part?
Okay, so this is for anything, right? Well. Oh
yeah, I just. Kind of to get the full picture, because I really grill my guests. So.
Yeah, no, it's fine. No. I would say dark. In every situation, there's some darkness I've been finding out throughout life.
I definitely agree.
Yeah, and it's, the business that I'm in, I don't want to just focus on this business, but it can be real depressing and can be real down, but the highs are so high and the lows are so low. It's kind of like you're walking around in this bipolar brain, in this bipolar world. Yeah, 1 minute, like I was just, okay, so up until January of this year, I was the voice of Lowe's, right? So I did TV
talking about
spots.
this on your podcast.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I didn't mention them. I'm actually mentioning it now.
Okay,
But
yeah.
I did. And so for like 6 months,
You
it
were
was
Lowe's.
amazing, like amazing,
Wow.
right? And then all of a sudden they got, a new CEO recently, and he wanted to put his stink on the product. So he said, no more of that guy. We want to hire someone else. And for about a month, I was in the running. So it was between me and one other guy they were looking at. And I was thinking, I got this. I've already done I did like 70 plus tags. I did like a ton of national commercials. And then I got the phone call. Oh, actually, no, this was huge. I go in to do a session at the recording studio, and I finished my session. And this woman that I had not heard, it's all patched through. They're in New York and I'm in LA. So it's all patched through headphones in the studio. And this woman comes on and she's like, hi, Alex, I'm so-and-so. And I'm like, hi, what's going on? And she's like, I just want you to know this is going to be your last session. And I'm like,
oh boy.
What? Now, meanwhile, here's the crazy part. The engineers on the other side of the glass are listening to this conversation.
Oh my God.
So it's not just me hearing it.
Nice.
The engineers on the other side are looking
so
at me like,
everybody is watching you, you're like stomach drop.
Yeah, so I walk out, finally I was just like, whatever. And that's fine. I mean, she probably didn't want to have to do that. And I felt for her to have to tell me that. So I walked out.
Well, that's really compassionate of you, because that's a tough one.
Well, we don't, I've had to let people go before,
Yeah, you're right. No, I know.
And you don't want to do it. No. And I walk out, walk into the engineer room, and the guy's just staring at me. I go, well, I'm going back to bed. Go home.
Got a case of the Mondays.
Yeah. And then, outside of the business, like darkness, I mean, we've all, we have trials and tribulations in our lives. And, my wife had a cancer diagnosis.
Did she?
Years ago. Yeah. And we fought with that for a few years. Then she had an operation, and a big major operation to get some tumors out of her stomach. And
that's rough.
But she's a trooper, and she's brilliant and she's doing great.
Good.
Great, so.
Good to hear. And it's interesting that you're talking about the highs and the lows and the uncertainty, and that you've worked with the TS Alliance, because that's like the major challenge with this condition is that you're always getting the rug yanked out from under you, because the nature of the care is unpredictable on so many levels. And don't worry, I'm not going to do a whole commercial for TS Alliance or anything.
No, that's fine.
It just was drawing that connection, because that's exactly it. You have to really kind of ride the waves, and there's some real, the good moments, you got to treasure them, because there's some real tough times. But that's just really life.
It is life. And I have the utmost respect for you guys, man. I don't know how you do these things, okay, so I have a really good friend of mine. Her daughter is very extreme autistic, right? Very extreme, violent autistic. And this girl is now, she's 19, I believe, and she'll never she can't hold conversation. She can't focus. And I'm kind of just saying this because of how you guys, I don't know. I have 2 children. Yeah, my daughter's 19 and my son is 17. And
I have 2 about the same age. I'm more than that, but that age is, Go ahead,
But they're healthy. And I'm blessed to have that. I mean, and I look at parents, who deal with their children in this way, and it's, my hat goes off.
Well, I get that, and thank you, but it's almost like I don't know what else we would do. I think we just try to do the best we can with how life happen. So,
of course.
Yeah, it's just, it's more extreme. You find your resources and you connect with people that are going through the same thing. And so
it's wild.
It's wild. So, yes, you're married to an actress.
And Mo Collins,
how does that work for you guys? Is that a challenge with both your careers? And
it's wild. We talk about this once in a while, not all the time, but once in a while it'll come up. And it's funny, last year, so the last series I was on was called The Fosters. I did 10 episodes of it. It was a show on Freeform Channel, and she was kind of doing stuff here and there, and mine was, I guess, I don't know, a little more regular as far as recurring. But she's always managed to just get offers and stuff like that. And now I haven't been on series on camera in about a year. And it's driving me a little crazy.
Oh, I bet.
Now she's on Fear the Walking Dead.
Right.
So she got this big gig. And so she's in Austin all the time and coming back, flying back and forth. And I'm just kind of like, oh my God. And at first, I guess you can say it was kind of a jealousy thing. I'm not too proud to admit that.
Well,
I mean,
no,
it's like,
I can't
yeah,
see
you're
that it
like,
wouldn't
okay,
be.
well, okay. But now I'm just like, yeah, whatever, man. It is what it is. And I'll get mine at some point. And
Yeah.
But there is, I mean, her and I, look, I've been in other relationships
Yep.
where, it could be hairy, but her and I, we get along so well, and we're good friends too. So it's like, we have this rapport it's not like that. We don't get like that. We kind of celebrate each other's stuff. And that's the beautiful thing,
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. And laughter is key.
I can't imagine that you guys wouldn't laugh. I mean,
oh my God.
Yeah. How did you end up meeting her?
Well, okay, so I had just gotten out of a marriage, and it had been a while, and one of my friends, I was at this bar with one of my friends in Hollywood, and they're like, you gotta try Match.com. And I'm like, I'm not doing online dating. That stuff freaks me out. And then another guy was there. He's like, don't do Match. He's like, try this site called Nerve.com. I'm like, that sounds like a triple X. What the hell is that? And he's like, no. It's one part of it is weird, but there's another part of it that's just a dating site, and it's legit. I'm like, all right. So I got buzzed. I went home that night. It was like 2 a.m. I go home and I set up a profile on Nerve.com. And I'm going, this is, whatever. So I wake up the next morning and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Let me see. And I open it up and there's a wink. Someone had winked at me, and I'm like, what the hell? So I click on it. And it says, this woman, Mo Collins, has winked at you. And I'm like, no, I didn't. Okay, so let me say this. I didn't watch Mad TV. I didn't know who she was.
You didn't know who she was?
No, I didn't.
Well, that's fine. She's a human.
Yeah. And I saw her picture. And I'm like, oh my God, she's beautiful. She winked at me. And so I winked back. And then next thing I know, we're kind of chatting back and forth. And then it moved to texting. And then from texting, it went to, hey, let's meet. And our first date was on April 30th, 2010. April 30th is coming up. So 9 years. This April 30th, our first date. We've been together for 9 years. Yeah.
And you guys you've had other relationships. You had kids, and
I have 2 kids with a different marriage, and then she has a child with her previous marriage.
And you make that work.
I fly them out here, a couple times a year, and then I'll fly out there to see them. And her son, he lived with us, and then he's now going to UCLA, and he's got an apartment. So now we're empty nesters-ish, I guess. Yeah. So we just kind of flow along.
Yeah, that's cool. What are your coping mechanisms? I know you said you were talking in your podcast a little bit about diet and you were trying the low carb thing.
So, look,
tell me about your bad habits and your good habits.
Yeah, my bad habits is I smoke cigarettes. I should not do that anymore, but I do. I actually still love it, which is hideous to even say.
No, my partner is he's on vape now and he's trying to step down, but he's been a smoker his whole. And it's
I can't do the vape. I tried it. I can't. I hate it. I hate it. It's not a cigarette.
Felt like I know. I get the addictive part of it, and
yeah, and booze. It's like, do I booze a lot? No, but when I do, I'll throw it up. You know what I mean? So, but that's just part of me, man. And I don't.
That's totally cool.
So I don't. I used to party a lot, like I used to when I was young. I liked LSD. I liked all that kind of stuff, and and I stopped doing that around 20. I stopped doing it. And I started young, which is pretty crazy. So now it's just I like tequila. I like my cigarettes, and, an antidepressant here and there is fine. And it's
I think whatever works for you I mean, nobody's perfect. We're just going by and.
I know. And I'm addicted to exercise.
I'm a total addict to exercise.
I've been working out since I was about 17 years old. What I learned, which is funny, and you were just mentioning the weight loss thing, is that throughout my years of exercising, you can work out till the cows come home. But if you're not eating right, it's not going to show, And so what I did was about a year and a half ago, this was 2 Novembers ago, I had a physical, right? And my blood pressure was a little high, and they did the blood work, and my doctor called me, who's been my doctor for 9 years, I guess. And he was like, hey, look, your triglycerides are kind of through the roof. He's like, you gotta do this. He goes, I want to put you on meds. I said, I'm not going on meds. Yeah, I said, I'm not going on meds, watch what I do. So I got off the phone and it was Thanksgiving, which was horrifying because I love food. I, within 3 weeks, went back and took a blood test and dropped my triglycerides by 600 points. My doctor was like, what the hell are you doing? I said, well, I went from burritos, pizza, and churros to leafy greens, fish, and fruit and vegetables. That's it.
So you can just tighten up your ship like that.
I guess. I mean, I dropped 30 pounds within like 3 months.
That's impressive. It really is, you know.
And yeah, but you know, here's the funny thing. So then about 3 weeks ago, I was like, oh my God, I can feel I'm adding weight again. So I got on the scale and I saw that from the 30 pounds I lost, I put back on like 7. So I went, this is no good. So about 2 weeks ago, I said goodbye to carbs. I'm doing the lean proteins, you know, chicken and turkey, a little bit of cheese here and there, fruits, vegetables, greens, and I'm down 7 pounds. I lost all the weight within 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm feeling good.
That's great. That's great. Yeah.
Those are my coping mechanisms, I guess, right?
No, yeah, that's perfect. Just great. Yeah, you got to have some like moments where you're, to let go and just.
Yeah, and feel good.
Feel good, yeah. So tell me a little bit about Comedy for a Cure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and how you got involved with the TS Alliance.
Absolutely love that. And I'm being completely honest.
Really?
I love it. Oh, yeah, my God. So my wife, she got involved about 8 years ago.
Okay, I thought she'd been involved for a while.
She did. So 8 years ago, you know, when we were about a year into our relationship, she's like, I'm doing this thing called Comedy for a Cure. It's for tuberous sclerosis. Do you want to come? And she was hosting that.
How did you know what it was then? Or?
I had no idea. I had no clue. So I was like, yeah, you know, I'll go with you. So I went and I loved it. I was like, oh my God, these people are amazing. And they're here and they're putting this all together for this complex. And then the second year she did it, I went. And when I was there, I was like, you know what? I want to do something for this too. And,
that's awesome.
And then Carrie, okay, so 6 years ago, Carrie asked me to do some stuff for it too. So I did, I think I hosted that year with my wife. I can't remember. I think I did. And then from there on out, so for 6 years, You've been doing
it for 6 years?
Yeah, some part in some way I've been doing it. Yeah, it's great. I love it.
That's awesome. It's just great to have that connection and, well, you know, Carrie, but just getting the word out about TSC, that like the people that can get it into the spotlight and raise awareness.
And the people, and you know, the wild thing is like the people with the organization are just so wonderful. Like everyone is just cool. And then the people that come there are so generous and you know, they give, you know, it's just amazing.
It's really good to hear. And I think my philosophy is it kind of draws you to like level up. It brings a lot of really people that are, I don't want to say evolved, but kind of like past the bullshit to a degree and just interesting people from all kinds of like different walks of life. So that's really great that you got involved.
Love it.
And thank you for all that.
This last one was awesome. Me and Jim O'Hare co-hosted together and we had great stand-ups. And,
did you?
It was fun. Yeah. We had John Henson, Orny Adams, Kate Flannery, a guy named Shane Brady did this funny magic show. And then we had,
so awesome.
And then Jim and I co-hosted and it was just great. Yeah, it was really, and the venue was cool too.
Was it?
It was a place called Academy LA and which I had never been to. And interesting enough, it's right next to the Museum of Death, which is very bizarre. But, you know, so we went, but the venue was like the Museum of Death and then Academy LA. And I'm like,
strikes me funny.
And the driver was dropping me off and I was like, is this right?
This is like a bad omen or something.
This is not, but the place was gorgeous. It was an awesome, awesome evening. It really was.
It's great. So do you ever do stand up or is it just?
You know, my wife's done stand-up. I have a bunch of friends that are stand-up comics, pretty well-known stand-up comics. And
like Joe Rogan is one of my heroes. Not heroes.
I don't know him. I don't even really know his stand-up. I watched his podcast because David Lee Roth was on it, who was one of my idols growing up. And that's all and I know he was on a series. I don't remember the series he was on. It had to do with like an office or something or whatever. Anyway.
Well, you know, his podcast he connects with everybody no matter who they are. He makes that human connection. Yeah. So it's,
he's great, man. He's got a huge following too. And his stand-up apparently is great. So I mean, you know.
But have you thought about it?
You know, I've had people say he should do it and I have thought about it. I have thought about it. Of course. But you know, here's the thing.
I mean, it's hard to write that stuff. I mean, I don't think I
would write it. I think I would just get up and wing it. I mean,
you would wing it. Is that the kind of like that's how you're
yeah,
shtick.
because I would have to probably do that. I mean, for the most part, I'm an actor. Yeah, I like the fourth wall. So like I do plays. I love doing theater.
I was reading your writing about that, and describe, like you were describing how it feels to perform in front of a live audience. I thought that was a great bit.
So I have this writer friend. His name is Howard Scora. He's a brilliant playwright. And I had done a play with him about 3 years ago called Miserable with an Ocean View. And I had one of the supporting roles in it. And I just loved the play so much. And then last Christmas, not this last one, the one before it, he came up to me. He's like, I'm writing a new play and I'm thinking about you for the lead. And you'd be great. So I was like, okay, give me the script. He gave me the script, and I'm like, oh my God, this play is hilarious. It's dysfunctional. It's about this actor who's not really getting much work in LA. And then he finds out his uncle dies back in Bensonhurst, New York. And he has to fly back for the funeral. And his family owns this furniture store. And from there, it just goes south. And it's hilarious. And I played Doug Elling, which was the main role. And we ran for 6 months out here. And we sold out every show for 6 months.
Wow. So you performed live for that long?
Yeah, we did 6 months. Yeah. And it's just phenomenal. But the feeling between, when you're on stage and you're in it and, the fourth wall's up. So in your head, there's really no audience there, but there is.
Is that what it is? I'm ignorant. So I'm sorry. The fourth wall. Yeah.
So the stage has 3 walls. There's no wall between you and the audience, but there's an imaginary fourth wall. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So you're alone. So anyway, the feeling of, like, I had 96 pages of dialogue.
Oh, my God.
Okay, but it was, at first, when I first got the script, I was like, what the hell?
How do you even,
But then it becomes a song. You work.
Oh, I believe it.
You work. And then, of course, you rehearse for a month, and then come opening night, sink or swim, time to go. Full audience.
Oh, my
And then after, 3 or 4 shows, it just becomes embedded in your brain. It's that song that keeps playing endlessly in your head that you can't get out of your head. And that's what it becomes. But the energy between when you're in it, when you're an actor on stage and you're in the moment, and that energy that the audience gives you, it's like a give and take between the actor and the audience. There's no drug. There's no feeling on this planet, in my opinion, that is better than that.
That's your flow state. That's your moment.
That's it, man.
Yeah. That's a gift. I mean, I think we all have our places where we get, hopefully people can do that. But that's cool.
And you can't get it from film. You can't get it from television. No. You can't get it from those mediums. No,
you're really having to rise up in the moment. I mean, and really rely on your
instincts. And and just keeping it honest and real. You know what I mean? So that's the whole acting thing, whatever. But it's like being able to keep it honest, keep it real, keep it grounded, and still bring the laughter, bring the funny, and do all this stuff. It's wonderful.
Sounds wonderful. It really does. It sounds great. I hope someday I can watch you perform.
Oh, I'd love it. It'd be great.
I was going to ask something else about that. How do you prep for that kind of performance?
Again, so when I got the script, I realized that I had 96 pages of dialogue, and it was out of fear that I literally went to my office. This is what I did, right? So every morning I'd get up, and this is before rehearsal started. Okay. So I told myself, I'm going to be off book by the time rehearsal starts. So I don't know what the other actors I don't need the script.
Okay.
Right. So every morning, and it took me about 11 days, but every morning for 11 days, I'd go into my office, close the door, and I'd sit in here for, 3-4 hours with the script. And I'd start on page 1, and I'd go, okay, so I'd grab 5 pages, and I'd go, I'm going to learn these right now. And then I'd learn those 5 pages. The next day I'd go on, and then I'd go da-da-da-da. And by 11 days, I was completely off book.
Wow.
Because it was fear. I was afraid that I wouldn't memorize this stuff. And I forced.
That's when I've had my most productive experiences. Is those states where you have to. You have to.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, sink or swim, man. You got to do it.
Yes. Yeah. That's awesome. I love hearing the experience of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you doing right now? And
I have a movie that I'm filming in Chicago in the fall. It's called Hardliner. It's a drama. It's pretty gritty, bloody, some action in there. And actually Jim O'Hare is also in it.
That's so cool.
Too.
Now, did you meet him through the TS stuff, or did you know him?
I've known Jim for years. We actually did a series together for Comedy Central way back before I got King of Queens. This was in early 98.
Oh, okay. So you guys go way back.
And we did a series called Strip Mall, which was really
That's funny. I might have, it sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, on Comedy Central, and he was in it, and I was in it. But I've known him for years.
Uh-huh.
He's a great guy. He's a great guy.
Yeah, I've heard that echoed. So you're doing this movie in Chicago.
I'm doing a flick in Chicago in the fall. And other than that, this podcast thing has really got me intrigued, and I'm just going to see what I can do with it.
Yeah, and I've been doing it. It's funny that I'd ever think of giving you advice.
No, just give it to me.
Yeah, you should go on a different platform.
It's going on iTunes. It'll be on iTunes soon. Good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that your style is really amenable to and just.
I love to hear that.
Yeah.
So Podbean is just the server. So it's going to be on iTunes.
Platform.
Like the platform.
Yeah,
it's going to be on iTunes by the end of the week. And then I'm going to try to get it on Google Play. And then I'm going to just, and it's word of mouth too.
Well, the only thing I like about the platform that I use, I'll tell you that is that it does kind of all that stuff for you. I don't know does Podbean do that?
I don't know it's been like 10 days.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mean to I'm just in love with podcasting. So.
No, I am too. It's like, I almost want to do one every day, but I'm like, no, one a week, Alex.
Yeah, that's kind of what I kind of fell out at, is one a week.
I guess I could do as many as I want, can't I?
You can. And then the other piece of it that other podcasters do, and I just copied them, was like after each episode, I kind of write up the show notes. Like for the people that I interview related to TSC, like if they're involved in something or they're talking about some particular like part of the TSC diagnosis, then I can give a little bit more information on the show notes. I don't know whether that would be.
I just did one yesterday. I haven't posted it yet, but I did one with my longtime friend William Butler, who was in like the Friday the 13th.
Oh, that's so cool.
So that's like, now he's a big writer, director, producer.
Uh-huh.
I actually did a movie with him last year, and I had him on. I haven't posted it yet. Maybe I'll just post it. Gives a shit, right?
Yeah, you can like get great conversations with people that are gonna draw a lot of attention. I think it'll take off for you.
I hope so. Yeah. My good friend Rick Overton, I don't know if you know who he is. He's a big stand-up comic. He was good friends with Robin Williams. He's great. I'm having lunch with him on Sunday, and I want to see if he'll do the show. And then of course, my wife's going to do an episode at some point. And
it'll be great. It'll be great. Yeah.
But I also like doing it solo.
Yeah. I think that it's nice because like the short, like I found like the shorter ones that I do get more listens, but it's also nice to get
10 minutes,
to know
15 minutes.
You. Like I listened to your podcast, and I had it's different than reading something about someone.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because you can hear the connotation and everything.
Yeah, you can kind of get a sense for what personality kind of type.
Yeah.
So I was relieved that you were pretty laid back. So is there anything else that you want to talk about as far as anything really?
I'm just, as far as social media, I'm on Instagram, alex.skuby, on Twitter, alex_Skuby, and my podcast is Skuby Talk, which will be on iTunes, and within the next few days it should be up on iTunes.
Good luck with all your acting, and
thank you so much. Stay in touch.
Thanks, Alex.
All right, thank
Take
you.
Care.
Have fun.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Pick you up, take you out for a ride in my daddy's car. Falling all over myself for a kiss, baby, something more. When you're young.
Friday night, Sunday brunch, it does not matter. Facts are facts, queen. Every cigarette can cut your life short. Find that hard to believe? Then tap the banner for more. This free life. Freedom to be tobacco free.
There's a difference between do it yourself and do it for a living. At the Home Depot, we get that. And we're here to help pros get the job done with the products and brands you trust. Technology to keep your job on track. Job site delivery to save you time. and bulk pricing on over 4,000 items every day to save you money. When you've got a job, we're on the job. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing.